Hey there! Welcome to the channel where you will find love, laughs, and DIYs. My name is Crafty Kathy, and I am tickled pink that you came to spend your time with me today. I'm a nurse by trade, but my passion is DIY home decor on a budget, and a few years ago I stepped out on my own to start a small business. So fast forward a few years, and I have a few booths here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Now, no matter what brought you to my channel, you might be a beginner or you might be advanced. You may just be wanting some ideas on starting your own booth, or maybe you just want to do your own home decor on a budget. But I would love it if you would subscribe and we can become crafting buddies. Also, if you find value in my videos and you like my content, please hit that like button because it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. And it helps to get my content put out there more. So without further ado, let's start on today's projects. We're going to start out with this musty, crusty table tray that I got when I was on vacation in Florida. And as you see, someone did like a little cross-stitch pattern inside of it. And so I had to unscrew it to get it all unpieced. And look how filthy this thing was. You could tell it was really old. And besides the cross-stitch pattern, you could tell it was kind of from the 80s. All right, so I took everything apart, and I'm actually not going to need any of this part. I'm going to use my DIY paint, which is my favorite, in the color Skeleton Key. I think that it's a really pretty bluish gray color, and it's perfect for fall. So I just gave this 2 good coats. And by the way, everybody asks me where I get my DIY paint, and I always get my paint and supplies from my friend Lori at Milton's Daughter, so I'll let you guys know every video in case you need to go get some supplies. Now, she gives all of my subscribers 10% off your IOD needs, so I'm going to leave her information in the description box below and the code, which is CraftyCathy10, so you guys can go and get your supplies from her. She's amazing, and she will help you with anything you need. So as you can see, I gave everything 2 coats because it needed it. And I didn't have to put shellac on this because if you're going to go with a lighter color on top, like a white or something, you do need to shellac so those brown tannins don't come through and make your paint yellowy and just musty looking. So since this Skeleton Key is darker, I didn't have to do that. But I did everything, inside, outside, upside, downside, 2 coats. Now we're going to do some sublimating. Now sublimation is best when it is put on polyester. And I have this piece of polyester that I bought from Walmart in a roll. And I don't want the words on this tray where it says it's fall, y'all. So I basically just went and just cut those words totally out at the bottom. And sublimating is so easy. All I'm going to do is pick up my little Cricut press and I lay it down and kind of move it around on the fabric just for a minute to get any wrinkles out. And then you take your picture and you lay it face down. Then I put a piece of heat-resistant tape on the top and the bottom so it don't waller around. Then I simply put a piece of wax paper over the top of it so it doesn't get on my iron, and I just lay that down on 385 for 60 seconds, and I just let it go. And in a second, you're going to see why sublimation is one of my favorite things to do in the DIY world. It always comes out gorgeous, especially when you use the polyester. Now, this is a straight polyester, but you can use a poly blend up to like, I think it's 70% that's suggested, 70% and above. But look how beautiful that is. I just get excited every time. And I'm rubbing my fingers over it just to show you that it's already dry. It's a gas process to put that ink on there. Then I just cut out enough that I could actually wrap it around the back of the picture. I make sure that it's centered the way that I want it. Then I'm simply just going to put a little bit of hot glue in all 4 corners, and that's just to hold that so it don't slide around on me. Then I flip it over, and I'm going to take some scissors and cut off that excess because I don't need that much. All I need is enough to put my hot glue down to hold it, and that's basically all I'm going to need of this fabric. So now that I've got that piece finished and everything's good with it, I'm just going to use Dixie Belle's Best Dang Wax, and it's just a clear wax because you do have to seal your DIY paint. Then I'm going to go in with my DIY black wax, and I did the same thing. I used my wax brush and put it on to my liking, and then I wipe off all of the excess with a lint-free rag. Now it's time to put this bad mamma jamma back together, but of course it took me what seemed like an hour to clean that glass and get everything off of it. And there are 2 screws in this little table tray, and that's what brings it all together. And I hope you like this one. I do sell some sublimation prints in my Etsy store. It's Kathy's Crafty Boutique, and I'll leave the information below in case you want one. The next one is this old Tater Box that I got at a yard sale a couple of months ago, and I think it's time to do something with it. It's got this 80s color on it. These have really come back in style, and it's time to breathe some new life into it. So I took it outside, and I started by sanding it. I started it like a 80 grit, then I went up to a 120, then a 240, and then a 320, and just kind of worked my way up to smoothness because this thing had been beat up like crazy. And then I gave it 2 coats of the spray paint that's called Rust-Oleum 2x Matte Ultra White. And then I went over it with DIY's Vintage Linen. Because when you do your last coat in a real paint, it just looks so much better. And DIY is a clay-based paint, and it just lays in any indentions, especially if something's been beat up a lot. All right, so I brought it back inside, and on the top part, we're going to do a simple stencil that says, "Welcome to our farmhouse," and it's one of those silk screen ones, basically like the Chalk Couture, but this is an Amazon brand, and it's in my Amazon store if you want some. And I also used that black gel paste, and it is the Chalk Couture brand. I've had it for a really long time, but this came out just perfect. It's beautiful. I love silkscreen stencils because they're perfect every time. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing on the bottom. I have some more silkscreen stencils that come from a company called A Maker Studio, and I found these on Amazon. I've got a chicken, a cow, and a pig. And I just kind of did the little thing where you kind of stack them on top of each other. And it came out beautiful and perfect also. But this time, instead of using the gel paste, I used Waverly's black color chalk paint. Then I went over the whole piece with Dixie Belle's Best Dang Wax, that clear wax. And then this is where things went awry. I was going to use black wax on this, and I probably should not have done that. You know, if you put down the clear wax first, then you can put down whatever color wax over the top of it, and it's actually easier to wipe the colored part off if you don't want so much. But guys, oh my goodness, I just put way too much of the black wax, which this happens sometimes, but this is a big piece that I didn't want to have to go back over and do. But you'll see what happens here in just a minute. I put my wax on and then wiped off the excess. As I was blissfully wiping off that black wax, I went over the part that says farmhouse up there. And remember, I used that Chalk Couture paste. Well, that stuff smears. And I wasn't thinking. I was in a hurry. And here I am just sitting there like, what am I going to do? Because I smeared it. I could not stand the way it looked. So to make a long story short, I went over the whole top piece again, repainted it, redid the farmhouse, and I hope you guys like it. I left that in there just to show that we make mistakes too, but it can be corrected. But dang, it was a lot to have to correct. Lesson learned. Now this next one is a round mirror. I think it's a 10-inch maybe round mirror. And I got this at a yard sale too, I'm pretty sure. It needed to be cleaned up pretty good. And I had to take all of the stuff off of the back of it so I could get that mirror out. And I started off by giving this 2 coats of the skeleton key. I figured since I was on the kick of doing the skeleton key, I might as well do it this color because it is just a beautiful, like a bluish gray color, and it's just so perfect for the fall, or if you want like muted tones in your home. It's nothing flashy or crazy, and I really can appreciate that. So I gave it 2 coats. And I'm going to use my IOD stamp that's called Kindest Regards. It's one of the most popular ones, and you'll see why. It's just beautiful every time. I used black ink. I like archival ink because it's permanent. It's not going to smear. And I just kind of put the words all over this mirror. Now I'm going to use some of this rice paper that I bought from a friend of mine. And it's just got several smaller scenes on it, and it's all like fall scenes, and it just matched this perfect. So I just got 3 different little designs off of there, and that's what we're going to use. These are a lot easier to decoupage with than any napkin. They don't rip as easy. All I did was put down a little bit of Mod Podge, and then I would put down my picture and it would stick, and then I just sealed the edges around it. It's so super easy. And this is an excellent way for people who love the look of decoupage, but they hate fooling with those napkins and worrying about wrinkles and stuff. This is the perfect thing for you. It's rice paper, or you can use decoupage papers, and it's just so much easier to work with. Since I used the DIY clay-based paint on this, I have to seal it, so I just used that Dixie Belle Best Dang Wax in the clear color. I just wipe it on and then wipe off the excess with that lint-free rag. I hope you guys like this one. What's it like to be the one that he turns to when he's out of answers? What's it like to be the one that he comes to when he wants to dance? I wonder what's that like. This one is another really short and sweet one. I got this little bucket when I was in Florida at a thrift store, and I love the way it looks, but it says popcorn on the front. I don't know, it looks like to me like it would have fall apples in it. So anywho, my first line of business was to get the word popcorn off there, so I just sanded it real good and scuffed it up so it could accept the stain. I took my favorite stain, and it's a poly stain, which means it's got polyacrylic in it, so you don't have to seal it. It's easy, and it's called Kona. That's the color of it, Kona. It's beautiful, guys. It's like a perfect shade. But anyways, I gave it a good coat, then let it dry, and then I coated it again. I got this gorgeous stencil from Hobby Lobby, and it was only like $2. And I am going to use a stencil brush, and I'm going to use the Waverly's black, the black color in Waverly. Why can't I talk today? Okay, it's called Ink, and it's their black color by Waverly. Goodness. And when I stencil anything, I simply pounce it. I just pop it kind of up and down. That way you don't get up under that stencil. And all I wanted on here was the words Farm Fresh. Now, the fruit came with this in this little insert. It reminded me of an ice bucket, but the fruit is so realistic, so I really like it, and I just kept it in there. And then I made one of those little figure 8 bows, and I just hot glued a button in the middle of my bow. All right, kiddos, this is the last one. Super easy. I've got some drop cloth, and I've got like a big round tray, and we're just going to make some fabric pumpkins out of this drop cloth. I lay my tray down. It was kind of the biggest thing I could find at the time, but I wish I would have got something bigger. But hey, we're just starting fall, so we can do this thing. And all I did was just take a Sharpie and go around it so I could trace my shape. I did that a total of 2 times with the bigger tray, and then I had a smaller tray, and I just did 1 pumpkin with that, so they wouldn't all be the same size. So here's the tray that I used to make my smaller pumpkin, and I did the exact same thing. I just traced it with my Sharpie, and then I cut all of these out. I took one of my bigger size circles, and I'm just going to do a stencil on it. I used that same stencil that said Farm Fresh, and I think I put I did put the little chicken on there too. I just went over the whole stencil. And look how pretty this is. The only thing that I could suggest is, you know, your pumpkin is all wrinkly when you gather it together. Well, it's kind of hard to read the words, but it didn't matter to me. So now I'm going to stuff my pillow, and the only pillows that I had, I didn't have any polyfill, so you can use an old pillow that you don't use anymore. This was a huge couch pillow, and when I opened it up, it had like down feathers in it, and I was like, oh great, because now we're going to have chicken feathers coming out of my pumpkin. But you know, you just work with what you got, and that's what I had to do in this case. So what I do is just kind of ruch my edges. I like to use a needle and thread and like sew it together. But if you don't have it, or if you're not able to do that, you can kind of use your fingers. It's very hard to explain, but I stick a finger in there to kind of make a little ruch in it, and that way you are not just grabbing it and wadding it up into a big ball, but you're making like a little edge on it. It may be easier to watch than me to explain, because I don't know how to explain really what I'm doing right here. So then you just get you some jute cord or some rope or whatever you want to use to tie it up at the top, and you just tie it together really tight. And I like to leave the little tops kind of, you know, with a little excess on them, because I think that looks cute. It just gives it a little flair. Then you don't really have to do this, but I took a long piece of jute twine, and then I go underneath it, and then I bring it up and around, just right through the middle of those little, you know, the top part that's kind of sticking up, and then you go from side to side, and all you're doing here is just basically making like 6 little pieces of what would be a pumpkin, and then you just tie that real good. And I cherish every little thing that my subscribers give me. And one of my sweet subscribers, Miss Rita, sent this care package to me last year. And this is her note that she still had in there. I love my girl Rita. And so she sent me these and said, I don't know what in the world to do with these, but they were just a quarter, so I got them. And I sent them to you because you may know what to do with them. Well, guess what, Miss Rita? I'm just going to paint the top of this a dark color, and I grabbed black because it was already on my stencil brush, and that's what the little stem of this pumpkin's going to be, and it worked perfect. I made another one and did the exact same thing on this one, and here I am kind of ruching the sides, and I just left a little bitty small opening to stuff it with. So I stuffed it up and tied it up and did all the exact same things that I did to that first one. Then I made one more, and I made it with my little small one, that smaller circle. And I'm going to use just a regular knob that comes off of furniture for the little stem on this one, because I thought that it was just cute as a button, and it just went perfectly. Then I did just different little cause bows on the top of these. I stuck a little wooden owl in one, just different little embellishments to give it a little added touch. And by the way, that is real Spanish moss that I pulled out of the tree in the front yard at the place that we stayed at in Florida. I always use it because it's cheap and economical. Hey, you guys, if y'all stuck with me through this whole video today, I just want to say thank you so much for coming and spending your time with me. I am so blessed to have you guys in my family. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not a part of our family yet. And don't forget to hit that like button because, like I said, it really helps me out here on YouTube. I love every single one of y'all, and I'm also going to have another video out on Friday at 6:30. I'm going to go back to my roots on this next one and do a little Dollar Tree DIY. I hope you guys are going to enjoy that one. Well, stick around because the bloopers are coming up next. And God bless you and your family, and I will be seeing y'all very soon. I love y'all. Bye.
This is a side note. No hillbillies are hurt during these bloopers. Also, this is just meant to show an inside view of mine and Kathy's family here in Tennessee. It does not mean that we feel that all Tennesseans are hillbillies, but our family is. Hey everybody, it's Cousin Bobby Joe. Well, me and Beaver's been trying to work it out and all this kind of thing, and I asked him did he want to come over because I was cooking his favorite, Vienna weenies and a Spam steak. If you don't know what a Spam steak is, honey, you're missing out, and you must not be from Tennessee. But anyways, so I cooked him a nice dinner. We had candlelight dinner. Well, it's them fake candles with the batteries in the bottom, but anywho, that don't matter. So anyways, we had us a nice dinner, and then we went out to the VFW to go dancing. I love to dance, and can you believe it? I can dance like you ain't never seen nobody dance. So anyways, I got out there and I was just shaking my thing like I do, and you know, everybody was looking because, I mean, hello. And you know, when I get out on the dance floor, I get a lot of attention, okay? I mean, I do anyway, but on the dance floor, I really turn it on. So anyways, I was out there doing my thing, and Sally Ann comes out of the crowd like a roaring lion and hit me in the eye. Do you see this black eye I've got? She is just jealous because I can do the Watusi better than her, okay? So we got in a fight. We both ended up in jail. Oh my goodness, story of my life. And so Buford right now, I don't know what Buford's gonna do, but I guarantee you that she don't cook a Spam steak like I do. I mean, what does she have that I don't? I don't know. But anyways, I just want to let you know that's what has been going on with me lately. I just got out yesterday, as a matter of fact, because Mama left me in there. She said she was going to leave me in there for days on end to rot in jail so I would learn my lesson. Okay, do you think I learned my lesson? I didn't even do nothing wrong. I mean, come on. Anyways, I was just sitting in there, you know. Sally Ann, I don't understand her. She's like a Jolene, a modern day Jolene. You remember the song, Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take my man. Shout out, Dolly. You know you're the queen, baby. But yeah, she's like a modern day Jolene. So anyway, I'm gonna stop that modern day Jolene. I love you. Bye.